Zach MMA. I'm your host, Zach Weicker, and today we got a very special guest. He's a professional fighter with a 9-2 record and coming off a huge victory over Trevor Peek. I'm here with Charlie Campbell. Charlie, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Hey, it's always a pleasure. And of course, you came off of that huge victory over Trevor Peek roughly 2 weeks ago. So tell me how you're currently feeling and what are the emotions like?
I feel good. I was pretty beat up from the fight. It was a war. He's super tough. He wanted it really bad. You know, I'm fortunate that I wanted it, a little bit more, and I was able to get the win, even when the going got rough in the third round. Some aches and pains and whatnot, of course. Emotionally, I'm really happy. Man, I sacrificed a lot my whole life, sacrificed a lot, in the 2 months of the fight camp or so. So it paid off. I won, so I'm happy emotionally, obviously.
And you mentioned it was a war there and probably the toughest fight of your career. So what did you learn about yourself in such a tough fight?
I learned, I'd say that what at one point could have been considered a weak point for me with my ground game, it could make an argument that it's the reason I won the fight. Where there could have been a turning point with him getting the better of some of the stand-up exchanges. I was able to use my wrestling, use my jiu-jitsu, take his back, hold him down, advance positions, and dominate him on the ground. So I learned for myself, I guess, something that people have been telling me for a while, which is like, hey man, your ground game is good, you could use it. And I felt like I knew that, but I didn't really believe it as much. In this fight, I almost felt like he was gaining momentum and I had to use it, and he had me hurt maybe a few times, and again, I had to pull it up out of my sleeve, use that wrestling and grappling. I proved to myself that, that's what I learned, that I am good on the ground as well.
Yeah, and when doing research, everyone just classifies you as a straight-up kickboxer. No one gives you that credit for being a well-rounded MMA fighter. So do you believe you're more of a well-rounded fighter than people give you credit for?
Yeah, for sure. I always probably would like to, maybe keep that identity as a striker. I guess, there's probably a majority of the fans would have preferred for even that fight to stay on the feet. But I had to do what's best for me. In the second round, I had some moments, taking his back. Not easily, but I was able to get there, transition, take advantage of his mistakes. And, when you're fighting, things are happening, and, you're using your subconscious. Things are happening very fast. So when I'm under attack in the third round, early in the beginning of it, your mind works quick and thinking, okay, where can I, have the most success and give myself the best chance of winning. It just reverted back to what I was doing in the second round. I got the wrestling going again. I was able to take him down, work a few techniques on the single leg, and take his back again in the third round.
Yeah, for sure. And for me, what stuck the most out about that fight wasn't the grappling, wasn't the striking, even though those leg kicks were amazing, but it was your heart. And after that second round, you looked drained, and going to your corner, it seemed like something just switched. So what was your mind frame going into your corner between that second and third round, and how was it like to bounce back from looking so drained to having a great third round?
When you're in there, you have no choice but to think about what's next. Okay, the second round is over, I'm exhausted, but I've got this third round coming up. So when you're in there, all you're thinking of is, man, I got to get my shit together. I need to man up. I need to catch my breath as best as possible because I got a third round coming up. And that's it. That's what makes us fighters, is because we're already in there. We're already in the UFC. We're presented with a really crazy challenge on live TV. If the worst case scenario happens to you, you're on front page news. You don't want that. How much more motivation and incentive do you have to try to win and protect yourself? I'm super exhausted in between the second and third, and I got another round coming up. You only got 60 seconds from the moment the second round ends to kind of get it together and catch your breath and stay focused. But it's really hard to answer your question, because when you're in there, you're just like, man, all right, I gotta just catch my breath. I'm just trying my best to get my heart rate down as low as possible. It's hard.
Yeah, and it has been a while since you made it all 3 rounds. So was that a kind of a moment where you kind of proved yourself, like, I can go all 3 rounds and I can do it against a top caliber opponent too?
Yeah, I'd say because it hadn't been since March of 2021, going 3 rounds. So maybe there are people out there, you know, everyone's got something to say nowadays. They're just, you know, running numbers and checking stats and putting out their betting, you know, picks. You know, I mean, there's so much of that crap nowadays, and I don't look at it on fight week. I don't look at it leading up to fights. I kind of get a laugh at them when I listen to these guys talk about, like, me and how I fight and what they could expect and who they're picking. And it's just funny because, like, these guys have no idea, like, what I've been working on for the last 2 months and what I plan on doing in this fight. It's a crazy sport, man. And, yeah, I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. I don't even know what the question was.
You answered it in there. But, of course, you went to 3 rounds.
Yeah.
But you're usually a finisher. So were you disappointed you weren't able to get the
Right,
finish?
thank you. Disappointed? I don't know. I knew he was super tough and hadn't really been clocked before. Like, his chin was like a brand new car. You know what I mean? There shouldn't have been any problems with it. But I would say that I did expect to maybe be able to finish him. I hit him with the same shots I guess I've hit other people with, and he was coming right back. He's super tough. Credit to him. And no, at the same time, I guess it is beneficial for me to, you know, have to face that challenge. I learned a lot about myself, man. You know, because looking back, I'm like, I had a choice to quit. You know, my whole life I've had choices to quit and stop what I'm doing, and right there in that moment, man, like, it doesn't cross your mind to quit, but I mean, like, it's real easy to take that out and say, man, I'm too tired for this shit, or man, I'm dizzy. But no, I planted my feet. I threw back every time, and there's no quit in me.
Definitely. And you see that every fight. And in a tough fight like that, or in any fight in general, even when you win in a great fashion, there's always something you can improve in. So, looking at that fight, what's one aspect you wish you had done differently in that fight?
There are mistakes I made that I plan on correcting that I won't say with you now, because I wouldn't want a future opponent who's anticipating on taking advantage of those mistakes. You know, if they hear this, they would say, "All right, never mind," because he's going to correct it. Let them think that I would make the same mistake twice. You know, that's why I don't do too many of these.
And in the lead up, Trevor Peek talked a little trash, talked a lot on your name. So, what's your thoughts about Trevor Peek in general?
Super tough dude. That's the first thing I would say. Again, same thing with, like, all the other content out there that includes my name, talks about the fight, people putting out their predictions. I watch it all afterwards because I only focus on the things I can control. What good is it going to do me? Unless I can really control my thoughts and go in and watch what he's putting out there, Trevor, and laugh it off, you know. But it can play with someone's head. It can let things get too personal. I feel like the fight for him, either he made it personal in his head, or the antics he was trying to do at the weigh-ins, and even when they announced his name in the cage before we actually fought, either he made it personal in his head, or they were attempts to try to get me off his game because he knew get me off my game because he knew he couldn't compete with me, you know, skill for skill. You know, he wanted to make it emotional for me and get me off my comfort zone type of thing. But I've now, since the fight has passed, I have looked back and saw some of the, you know, the posts he's made, and, you know, someone having their opinion on what I do on the mic is fine with me. Like, I don't care, you know. But I know I'm doing something right. If I had any advice for him, I would say to care less, you know, because he had a lot in the gas tank. We were going at such a crazy pace for that third round, the whole fight, but the third round, I had more left in me, and he might have been able to compete with that or perform better had he made it less emotional for him. There's no way you're going to tell me his heart's not racing when he's coming out of the tunnel, when his music comes on, screaming my name in the apex, or, you know, stomping around the cage, pacing back and forth when they're announcing and our names and whatnot, you know. So I feel like for him, as he gets, you know, more and more experience, he's got to stay calmer. You're not gonna take the dog out of somebody. We know he can pull that out. If I was his coach, I'd say, dude, you got that in your back pocket. Be calm and cool, you know. You might be able to save some energy like that too. It can, you know, you can be able to use in the third round, you know. Because it's, you know, if your heart's racing an hour before you actually fight, what good is that doing you? You know, you got to take the emotions out of it, I think.
That's a great way to look at it. And earlier in that you mentioned that he didn't like what you say on the mic, but you made 2 callouts after this fight. One of those was Miss Peaches. So out of everyone in the world, why did you call out Miss Peaches?
I think everyone loves her. I love her, and that's all that matters. I think the content is great. Dave Portnoy is amazing, and why not? You know, it's kind of just what popped in my head in that moment. I'll admit I had the idea prior to the fight, but it was nothing more than a joke. And that would be really cool if I did that, and give her some more spotlight. And just what crossed my mind. Miss Peach is the best.
Yeah,
gotta meet her.
I love that, but I loved your other call a little more, the Tim Tebow Foundation. So I know last weekend you were able to work with the foundation. So what was that like for you to be able to work with that foundation, and what about the Tim Tebow Foundation stands out to you?
Well, I feel like, first of all, I had a lot of nightmares growing up as a kid, being kidnapped. I'm sure a lot of kids did, but like for some reason I was just being like haunted by this, just this terror, this idea of being kidnapped. I don't know what it was. I think maybe I watched a movie at too young of an age, and it just stuck with me, like being abducted. And the movie The Sound of Freedom got so much attention. It got the attention it deserved. And then we're human. If something happens, something else replaces what you give your time and attention. Like I feel like after a month, people just forgot. And I'm just really impressed with Tim Tebow for so many reasons. And he's trying to give a voice to these victims. There's kids all over the world being kidnapped as we speak, and horrific things going on. So with what I, had a phobia of, as a kid, crying at night, and people actually going through it, and this superstar, given his name and his focus, making, trying to put an end to it and giving it more attention. That way more action is taking place to try to put a stop to it. Why wouldn't I want to contribute? I'm nowhere near the star. I might not ever be near the star or got the attention he has, but with whatever people will listen when I talk, I would love for them to, continue to understand what's going on and where we should be focusing our attention to better the world, because it's absolutely insane what goes on.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely love that.
Yeah.
And you made those 2 call-outs, but you didn't call out any fighters. So is there any fighters you want to call out? Anyone in mind that you'd like to fight in the near future?
I had some really, really good stuff. I don't know if I shared it with you, or I think I might have. I don't know. I had some really good stuff. I've been called out now. Forgive me. Ignacio Bermudez. Is that how they say it? I say it. He called me out. I think there was another fighter or two. I'm calling myself the best in the world. I believe that. So I'm assuming these fighters are going, oh, he's not going to turn it down. And I spoke to Ignacio. I told him I would fight him. But my priority right now is my health and to open a gym. So September might not work. We went back and forth a bit and just said, hey, maybe we'll see each other in the future. Nothing but respect, to him and his family. So the same for me. Class act. But it could be anybody. You never really know what's going to happen in this sport. And I had some really good things I wanted to say, but unfortunately I didn't get to finish, and it just didn't feel right. Yeah.
Makes sense. And of course, last time you were on the mic was the one where it went viral. Everyone's talked about it, where you did the rock line to DC. So just tell me about that, how it was like to go viral and have The Rock repost that.
Again, it's kind of something that when it's happening, like when I said it, I guess I didn't really know how much it would get. And it's funny, it's like for just as much like support and love you feel like you get out of doing something kind of cool, there's like a balance of scale, just the amount of people that are jealous, or trying to tell you did something wrong, just because they're just so. I guess there's just a lot of people in this world that they're always gonna watch someone else, and for some reason they envy, and it's messed up. But it felt cool. The people that hated on me for it, I only focus on the things I can control. I don't care what someone's doing across the street. All I care about is talking to you right now. So they're not going to throw me off my game and my focus and things I want to work on. They don't know as much about show business as I do. That's not my fault. But The Rock is a cool guy, a hero of mine, and that was a good experience. That was really cool, I think I just showed people just like a little bit about how to capitalize on, getting that mic, because it isn't guaranteed. You got like 30 seconds, and you can make an unforgettable moment. I bet you that 99, not 99, but I bet you there's a good, who knows, millions of people did not know who I was because I fought, but they knew who I was because of how much attention and engagement and traction I got on social media platforms because of what I said. You know, so if more people know who I am down the road, that's going to help me. So you've got to find ways to show your character and do things and think outside the box, outside of how you actually fight in this game, to separate yourself and draw more attention from the masses. Not everyone loves fighting, but everyone loves to laugh, and if you can get that kind of engagement on social media, it's going to go a long way.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there, because you see, you've rose in stock because of your call-out. Someone like Manny Moicano jumped a lot because of his on-the-mic skills, so definitely something I 100% agree with you there. And, of course, the WWE, UFC, TKO. Would pro wrestling be anything that interests you down the line one day?
Yeah, down the line one day for sure. Absolutely. I think that's every kid's dream too. I'm looking to fulfill my own dreams. If there's kids that had the same dreams and they can live through me, that I'm happy to do that too, But I was watching a lot of that growing up, man. And part of it's like with the WWE is like I just feel like I'd love to do it like maybe once or twice. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know like the lifestyle these guys live. Crazy. I feel like I would be able to find a love and passion with that lifestyle, but if I could just be involved even once or twice, that'd be really cool. Just to like put on the TV and watch it back, like from home, like watch me on the screen bouncing off the ropes. Like that's kind of the whole thing. Like a lot of UFC fighters like can't wait to watch that fight. I got to the hospital after this last fight, and I was like, figuring I'm subscribing to ESPN Plus to watch my own fight. And that's like the coolest part about it, is seeing yourself in this atmosphere that you watch so many others before you, and it's almost like surreal. You're like, damn, that's really me. Like I really, it hits you. It hits you differently in a few different times in different ways the more you watch yourself on TV. It's crazy.
Yeah, maybe down the line they go UFC versus WWE Survivor Series match, something like that could be cool.
God.
But
yeah, they might.
Just chuck 15 UFC guys in a Royal Rumble, half and half.
I know they got a room of guys, with really good creative minds sitting around writing ideas out, and they're making a pile of documents ready to go. I don't know which way they're gonna go. I don't know when they're gonna go with them, but for sure someone's raised their hand and said that, and it's probably just the beginning of what they can do with the collaboration and partnership.
Yeah, slowly but surely. And looking at your debut, you always had that dream of making that walk to the UFC cage, to actually making that walk. So tell me that experience of making your debut and fulfilling your dreams.
When you're doing it, at least for me, it benefited the most to just behave like and put it up in your mind like it's no big deal, So like, as much as I wanted to jump around like a little kid, like, wow, I made it to this tunnel and it's about to happen. I got these gloves and shorts on and the crowd's screaming and the music's gonna come on and that cool music turns on where they go lightweight division and it's a show. Like that. As much as I was like, I wanted to be like a fanboy for myself and pat myself on the back, it wasn't gonna help what I had to get done in the cage, So I had to treat it like it's no big deal. And then, like I said, it's kind of like when you're in there, you don't get to really not appreciate it, but you can't really be so happy because you've got to do something. You have a job. You've got to go fight somebody, for in front of a lot of people and the whole world to see online. So it's not till afterwards that you're able to, like, I've watched a certain stream. It's like, it's crazy. I don't understand UFC. I'm sorry, ESPN Plus. Like I'll watch it and like, there's like a commercial break and then we're in the cage and then I'll watch it like a month later and it's like it has my walkout. Like I don't know what what I'm talking about. So I've come across one only recently that shows the walkout, and watching myself on TV doing that walk, the same walk I've seen others do, and that's when it starts to feel really, really, really weird, But then you start realizing it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. It's cool. It's very cool, but it's like we're human too. It's nothing like crazy.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, that's your dreams, but you also help inspire others by teaching them MMA, doing one-on-one lessons. We're here at your garage right now where you do that. So what's it like to share your knowledge onto others?
I enjoy it a lot. I enjoy it a lot for my own martial arts journey. It's really, really great to go over the basics. You know, what I talk about a lot, what I perform really well a lot when I fight are clean basics, I believe, and really, really sound fundamentals. So that's my A game. I want to be really great at the basics. You know, perfect doesn't exist, so I try not to compare myself to it, but you want to be really, really great at your foundation basics, I believe. I'm constantly teaching that, constantly talking about it, so it benefits my own skills. And now what I could do for someone else who wants to learn, what I could do for someone who might want to lose weight, I don't know, it's just in my nature to kind of get like my own happiness and endorphin rush when I see someone kind of like happy because they're achieving their goals, you know what I mean? And martial arts is such a great thing. You do so much for somebody aside from just teaching them how to defend themselves. So I don't know. I'll be doing it forever because I really do enjoy it for so many reasons. And I'm fortunate that I'm able to relate with people enough where they can trust me, and now I have a good enough resume where people know they're not going to waste their time. You know, it's definitely a watered down market. You know, there's probably 5, 6, 7 MMA schools within 5 miles of me, and these guys may not have even fought ever. You know, so I know I can separate myself among them and offer a service and a serious curriculum that they can't even begin to talk about. You know, so when I get into business and doing that, I'm looking forward to separate myself and my brand and my striking system, and helping as many people as possible that want to learn from me.
Definitely, that's great, man. And my final question for you is, of course, you have the aspirations of building a gym. You have a lot of other aspirations in life and in your UFC career. So where do you see yourself in 2 years from now?
2 years from now, I'll be 30. I'd like to have, if not 2 locations with my gyms, definitely a really well-established first location by 2 years from now. Potentially 13 or 14 and 2, you know, God willing. And really just continuing to find my definition of happiness, you know, and getting what I deserve in life.
Yeah, I love that. Charlie, is there anything you want to plug? I know we're both repping the merch right now. You got socials, anything you want to plug before you head out of here?
No, I do this for you guys, you know, but I have a website, charliethecannibal.com. There's a few links and buttons where you can get to my shop page, but anyone who's listening, thanks for your time, and I hope you're able to kind of see the side of me outside the cage that, you know, a lot of people don't know about, so thank you.
Charlie, it's been more than a pleasure. Folks, that's all for today. Until next time, peace.